Hello there, everyone, and a very happy Friday to you today. I am absolutely delighted to be back for another Arden Live. Today, I have some card making projects for you featuring the Garden Chronicles collection, and I have to show this collection to you. It is so beautiful, so easy to use, wonderful for all different kinds of paper crafting projects, but also and especially for card making. And so that's what we're going to be working with today. We've got beautiful pattern papers. We've got decoupage papers that I'm excited to share with you, stickers, and also we're going to be talking about one of my card making shortcut supplies, which is cutting die sentiments. So we've got a lot to explore today, and I'm super excited to have everyone joining us. So please feel free to pop a comment into the chat, and either I will be able to respond to you or Fiona is backstage and she'll be keeping an eye on things as well. Alrighty, I am going to switch my camera angle and we can take a look at our projects and also some of our beautiful papers and supplies to work with today. So these are the two cards that I want to share with you today. And they are both incorporating not only these gorgeous pattern background papers, but also we've got some decoupage paper in here as the background, as an accent piece. We've got some stickers that I want to show you, as well as these fantastic cutting die, sentiment die cuts, and how everything comes together so easily. Alrighty, so I'm going to set these aside and let's take a look at the papers that we're going to be working with today. Hi, Angela. I see Angela's dropped in. She's waving back at you. Nice of you to join us. Folks, if you're jumping in as we're live, please do feel free to pop a hello or a little waving hand like Angela did into the comments. We love to see that you are here with us. So the three elements that we're going to be working with mostly today, we've got the Garden Chronicles paper pad. I've also got the sticker book, and I've got the decoupage paper. So let's have a look. Let's start with our paper pack. Okay, I'm going to shimmy these off to the side here for a second. Now, apologies, because when I open this up, you're going to see that I've gotten into this. I've got all kinds of snippets and pieces popped out in here because I really was having a lot of fun with this collection. So this is the 6x8 paper pad. You can see all of the different designs inside here, but it's always fun to flip through. The designs are incredible. I think Katie has really outdone herself this time. This is one of my favorites. And of course, they're double-sided, and you've got lots of coordinating colors and textures in here, so they can really be used very easily across the color palette. Hold on, there's another set that I want to show you in here. This teal design is beautiful. You have some smaller prints in here. You've got some larger collage elements. This is also one of my favorites. And so is this one. I have to show this one to you too. So you can start to see where I'd pulled everything out and then was like, had them all spread out over my work surface. So this is perhaps a little bit of a messy look through this paper pad. Yours will be nicer, I promise you, until you get into it. Now in the back, you've also got a couple of sheets of die cut punch outs. As you can see, I've gotten into this too. You have the seed packets, you've got the sentiments here, you've got the tickets. These are also really nice to use as parts of a collage. So this is one of the sheets. Here's another one, or it used to be, with lots of botanical images in here. And these will just pop right out of that backing sheet, and then you can use them on your projects. So this is our 6x8 paper pack. Now to coordinate, we've also got a sticker book. I love these sticker books. Now this is not the only one that Arden has. So have a look. If you're a sticker person or you're intrigued by this kind of collection, have a look. What I like about these, again, I've gotten into this set, you've got designs that are both washi tape style in terms of the texture of them and how they're a little bit translucent. You also have the clear version of this, or the, I guess, more of a classic sticker um, design here. Put it up against the white so that you can see that. Beautiful, rich colors on here. Absolutely stunning designs, of course. Lots of words, lots of images, and you've got also some of the background elements here too. Just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Now with the washi designs, I wanted to show it to you on this little swatch here. So this is one of the washi pieces, and you can see that it's translucent. So if you put it onto a black background, it's going to have a different effect than if you have it on a white or a lighter background. So I just wanted you to be able to see that there can be much of a difference depending on what color you are layering these onto. So just a little information for you on that. And then finally, let's look at our decoupage paper. So if you've ever done any kind of decoupage, maybe in a more traditional sense with the napkins and the Mod Podge, then you'll be familiar with the kind of consistency of this paper and the texture of it. These are, of course, absolutely gorgeous, and they are such good quality and so easy to use for backgrounds, for accent pieces, and a lot more. Now, also inside this cap, you've got 4 designs, 3 sheets each. So 3 of each one of these. What's nice is that they can be combined together. Like I think these 2 go together beautifully. These 2 go together beautifully, but you can also kind of crisscross there if you want to combine them. You can also cut them, tear them, layer them one on top of the other. Super simple to use, and we'll talk about how you can use those as we get into our projects. Okay, so that was our whistle stop tour of all of my today's favorite products. So I was telling Fiona earlier, next collection that comes out, probably that will be my favorite collection. But for right now, I'm all about the Garden Chronicles. Alrighty, let's jump into our first project here. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie's just joined us and says, I love this new collection from Katie. I will have to choose carefully. Stephanie, I'm with you. It's hard to choose. It's hard to pick just from the whole collection. I can attest to that. All right, let's take a look first of all at our all over design and kind of what we've got going on here so that we can look at the individual elements as we get into the demo. So first of all, I've got this beautiful patterned background paper here on the front of my card. This big, beautiful die cut. This is from the paper pack, so that sheet that didn't have much in it anymore. Well, this is why. So I've got the butterfly and the flower coming together. Back here, I've got some pieces of that decoupage paper. I have a little sticker up here at the top, and then the Miss You down here at the bottom. So we will also be talking about cutting dies. If you are a card maker, this is one of my go-to card making hacks. When you're designing your card, either for the front of the card or also for the inside of the card, when you need a message or you need a theme for your card, sentiment die cuts do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. This is also great if you bulk make cards. Like I make a lot of cards for charity, and this is a great way to be able to kind of do like assembly work. You can do a lot of cards with a lot of different sentiments, keeping the same sort of overall design. So for these cards, I've got the Miss You, and I've also got the Dream Big. This will be for our second card. So the Miss You is a cloud series die, and it's called this because it's kind of got a, if I hold this up here, you can see the Miss You has kind of a cloud or kind of a halo effect around it. You have 3 dies in here. So you've got Miss You, and then you've got this cloud effect, which you can use if you want to. You can also use just the words individually, which is what I've decided to do here for my card. Okay, let's get into our demo. And a hello to everybody who's joined. Susan, oh, it's so nice to see you. And Lynn and Karenina, oh, just by everything she says, we have, yeah, I know. I'm kind of with you on that too. It's just too hard to pick. And nice when everything goes together. See, that's my excuse. That's my reasoning because it all goes together. It makes everything a lot easier to put together and foolproof. I'm going to start with this pattern paper here. And I've trimmed this down just slightly smaller than the front of my card. And my card measures 10 inches, 10 and a half inches across. Sorry, no, that's wrong. 10 and a half centimeters across, 15 centimeters tall, or 5 and 3/4 inches by 4 1/8. Whew, that was my math lesson for the day. So it's a fairly small size, petite size of card, but it fits perfectly with this floral die cut. So let's bring in this sheet here. This is again from the paper pack. All of these beautiful designs in here. And when I pop this out, comes out really easily. I've got a nice border around the outside edge here. So I kind of have this matting element around here, which is nice. The other thing that's nice is that these are double-sided, which means that I can have my flower leaning this direction or the other direction. And this is really useful with those botanicals so that you can really position them in, or the bird for that matter, positioning them in facing a certain direction if that's what you want. So I've got my floral image here. And I know that I want to have this as my starring focal on my card. I'm just going to place that here for now. I'm not gluing anything down quite yet. And from here, I also want to play around a bit with what I'm going to have in the background. And I like to get everything sorted before I glue things down, just so that I make sure it's all in the right place. And from here, I want to bring in some of that decoupage paper. So let's take a look here. This is one of the sheets that I'm using, and here is the other sheet. Now, with a decoupage paper, it's sturdier than a tissue paper, but it still is translucent. So I think you can see my hand underneath here. It's not so lightweight and fragile that you can't tear it, do some altering techniques with it, and in general have quite a lot of fun. So it's not something that you need to be really precious about. It is a good sturdy workhorse for your different layering and different dimensional activities here too, so that you can create some really cool aspects here with this blending into a lighter background. Again, I want to show you with this one in particular how this looks on a light cardstock color or on a black or a dark color. So again, you'll be able to see that you're getting two very different looks depending on light or dark, whichever you have underneath. And then of course, with this design, you've got some darker colors in here too, which is really fun to play with. So how do you use your decoupage paper? Well, it's really easy. All you need are a couple of tools. For adhesive, I like to use a kind of a standard white acrylic glue. This could be Mod Podge if you've got it on hand. If you're in the US, Elmer's glue will work just fine. Whatever kind of basic white crafting glue you have in your craft stash, and I'm pretty sure, like most of us, we've got plenty of this on hand. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. Now, when you're deciding which part of your decoupage paper to use, you can either cut out the images like we will do with this butterfly for our second card. You can also tear it. It tears quite easily. And if you want to have a little bit more of a guided tear on things, what I recommend is a little bit of water and a paintbrush. So I'm going to be working onto my little palette here. You can work right onto your craft mat, any kind of surface that will protect your table, your main work surface. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water into my palette here. Take my water brush or paintbrush will do the trick, and kind of figure out which area of this I want to tear out. And I think I'm going to go for this portion right here. I want to have a border that's going to read across my card. So I'm just kind of drawing the outside shape around here. And then from here, I will just gently tear this apart. And using the water just helps to create a little bit more of a guideline for my torn edge. And then I can kind of pull this off, and it will give me a sort of wispy, fringed edge along here. Super simple. Now I'm going to set this piece aside. I want to have a piece that's going along my the side as a border, and then I want some smaller pieces here too. I like this little postmark in here. Now I could cut it, but I think I'll just also come in here and use my water brush. Oh, either a water brush or a paintbrush will do the trick. And this will give me a really nice torn edge as well, torn edge effect. Like so. So pretty, so easy to use. Okay, so that's from this sheet. Now let's see with this one. This is a fun one because you can tear out or cut out these elements in clusters or individually if you want more of the light, more of the dark, more of this, like it looks like old tape on there. I like that a lot too. So I'm just going to grab this little portion here. And again, use that brush to go along the edges and then tear this out. And a little bit of decoupage paper will go a long way in your designing. So you can use as much or as little as you want. You can overlap them. You can combine them together. So much that you can do. All righty. Now, let me just make sure I don't have water going all over my craft table. So from here, what I'm going to do is play with the positioning of my various elements before I get things all secured down. So I've got my floral element here. I know I want to have my Miss You down at the bottom. We'll get to that in a minute. But I know that I want to have, with this fairly large embellishment, I want to have pieces kind of peeking out top and bottom, left and right. I also want to leave some room for my butterfly sticker up here at the top too. So when I'm positioning this, I'll figure, okay, I want to have my border going along maybe like this. And then this piece, let's see, tuck this piece down here, and then maybe this piece over along the side like that. So I've got things creating a nice frame around my floral accent. Okay, so keeping this in mind, move that to one side, and then I'll just get out my adhesive. And let's see, let's get a little bit here on my palette. And again, you can do this right onto your craft sheet. If you've got one of those standard Teflon craft sheets, this will also work. Now for this, you can use your smaller brushes if you want to. You may opt for something that's a little bit wider, not a huge wide brush, but something like this will be, maybe the width of a fingertip and a flat brush. So this also comes in handy too. Okay, I'm going to start with my larger piece, flip this over, and then I'm going to pick up some of this adhesive. And you may also want to add in a little bit of water to that adhesive, depending on how thick it is, and just apply this to the back. And I'm applying a thin, even coat on here. I'm not overdoing it. I'm not really layering. No, I'm not laying it on too thickly. So an nice even layer on there will work beautifully. And then just place this on here and gently smooth this down. And then I can take my same brush and just make sure that I've got glue on all of those edges. Okay, so that's in here. And look how beautifully that just blends right into that background. So pretty, so easy to do too. Okay, so then I've also got this little piece that I wanted to go down toward the bottom. Same process. Now you can overlap these elements together if you want to. That will also look really nice. Let's place this one a little bit over the first one. And because of those wispy torn edges, this will just blend right into that background piece. Okay, I'm just going to see how I'm doing here. And then I've got my third piece. Try and make sure that the writing is going the way I want it to go. And get this nice and evenly coated. Maybe trying not to handle it a whole lot. Okay, and that was going to go like so. And we'll just pop that down here. And again, just smooth out those edges. And you'll see here the difference between having that white design versus the darker colors in here, just how that adds such a beautiful effect and coordinates so nicely with this overall patterned paper. Okay, one thing I do want to really make sure of, I can wipe off or peel up that glue once it's dried, but I definitely do want to make sure that my brush goes into some water, charred water off to the side, just to make sure that I don't end up with glued together paintbrush. That wouldn't work well. So this just takes a little bit of time to dry, won't take too long. In the meantime, what I can do here, I've decided that I want this to go this way. What I can do is take this time to add a little bit of foam tape to the back of my image here. I want this to pop up just a little bit. So let's get this foam tape down. And that will give some nice dimension on here when I get ready to put that down. So still going to let this dry. I've got this ready to go. Let's talk about our cutting die. So the Miss You die, as I mentioned, is one of these cloud, in the cloud series. And I think of it like I guess a cloud. I think of it as a halo because of that outline area on there. So again, you've got lots of different options when you're working with this. And what I like to do is combine the two words, perhaps in a different way than what they have been designed to do. So you can, of course, take that cloud effect. So you can see, just simply die cut that, and then layer the smaller words on top of the cloud, like so. And they'll just nest right in there, giving you that wonderful frame. I've got a piece that I've already got done so that you can really see how that helps it to stand out. This will give you the words in this kind of stacked formation. If you want them to go in a line, perhaps like that, then you can just use the two words like so. I thought this would be fun to have them go at a bit of an angle. So that's how I've got those positioned down. So the Miss You, what's also nice about this is that you can mix and match either one of those words with other coordinating words. So let me see if I can grab something easily here, perhaps with our stickers. You have a lot of different words and sentiments on here. And there are, there's the love, which is part of Love This More. But if you wanted to, interact, have these two interacting, love in this font and then you, like so. Same thing with the Miss, and I'm sure there's a U in here somewhere, but you can really mix and match these. So they're super versatile. It's a really great value. And for card makers, just really nice to have on hand. Let's check and see how our glue is doing here. Maybe needs a little bit longer, but what I'll do in the meantime, I always like to add a little bit of an edge around my pattern papers. So I'm just going to grab a brown ink pad and do some edging along here to create some nice shadows before I add this to the front of my card. And from here, what I can do is pop down my beautiful floral embellishment. So let's pull these guys off. And then position this. Let's see. I'm going to position it like so. And then I've got that gorgeous decoupage paper and those designs creating a really nice frame around my focal element. Then I can place my Miss You in place. And I wanted it to go at a bit of an angle like so. So how to glue these intricate and delicate letters? Well, lots of different options for you. I think everybody has their own personal preference. I like to use a white glue for this. There are also some sticky dots that you can use. Kind of depends on what you have to hand. And this works really well in a pinch. And it's inexpensive and easy to use. So I've got my adhesive on my piece. Now, before I glue this down, I've got a little bit of excess adhesive, so I'll just tap it off on my hand, and that'll knock back a little bit of that excess adhesive, and then pop this down, press it down. And then I'll do the same thing with the word you. Let's make sure that I've got this all on those beautiful scripty letters. And again, kind of tacking off some of that excess. And let's see here. Pop that right down like so. Now, while this is drying, one other thing that you can do while it's drying is grab a clear acrylic stamping block and just pop it on top, and that will help your die cut to stay glued in place while you're letting that glue dry so that you don't have anything kind of popping up there. The last piece I want to add in here is this butterfly sticker. And again, you're spoiled for choice on all of those beautiful sticker elements. There are quite a few butterflies in here. There are also some bees. You've also got just some really gorgeous, which you can't see if I'm holding it that way, really gorgeous botanicals in here, some large images, which I really love. I just think this is such a stunning collection. And for this one, I'm going to use one of the little bees. Pull that off. And then layer him right on top of that decoupage paper. Such a great way to layer up your different colors and patterns. It adds a lot of depth and dimension to a piece without creating a lot of bulk. So really the bulkiest thing on here is my floral piece, which I've got down with some foam tape. So you could simply glue that down in place if you wanted to. Super duper. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is pop this onto the front of my card. So flip this over and just glue this down. Just apply my adhesive on here. And I'm using the Arden 360 glue dot pen. Make sure that my fold is going along the side. And then pop this right in the center. And I like using pattern paper, cutting it slightly smaller than the front of the card. I do really like having that kind of edge going around the outside, creating a nice frame around my focal element. So there we go. Card is just about done. The only other thing that I've added on here is a little piece of jute twine, which I've tied into a bow, and then simply glue that right on top of my flower to accent that. So again, another optional idea for that, but you can see how easily these elements come together and how beautiful that decoupage paper is in there. especially when layering it up with your patterned papers. So that's our first card. Now with our second card, I want to talk again about the decoupage papers and using them in a slightly different way. I'm going to shimmy away some of this stuff here. I've got everything, all of my craft supplies are kind of coming in toward me here. I want to make sure that I've got everything ready to go. So we're going to start with a little bit bigger of a card base for this one. So this is measuring 6 3/4 inches by 4.5. That's 11.5 centimeters by 17. And I like to do cards that are both vertical and horizontal. So I thought I would do one of each for today's video. Now, because the pattern papers are 6 by 8, this paper isn't going to go across my card all the way this way. So I'm going to turn it like so and then glue it to the front of my card base. And I really like starting with a blank card for my card projects. You can make and score your own, but I will pick this up at my local craft store, and they come in a variety of either white, off-white, black, and a variety of different sizes, which is nice. So to do this, all I'm going to do is just add some adhesive to the front of my card and roll this right on here, making sure that I've got adhesive in the corners. And then simply take my pattern paper and I'll position this. I'm going to align this, the edge of this with the fold of my card. Simply place that down, smooth it down, flip it over, and then trim around the outside edge. This is an easier way to cover the front of your card with pattern paper rather than trying to cut paper to the side, to the exact size of your card, and then glue it on top. My aim has never been that great for something like that. So this is a really easy way to get beautiful pattern and instant color on the front of your card. There we go. And once again, I'm going to grab my ink pad here and do some shading around the outside edge. Just kind of shimmy that color around all of the edges to give a nice bit of dimension there. This ink pad isn't such a dark color, so I can really be quite heavy-handed with that. All right, so from here, I've got a lot of different options with all of those different pattern papers. But the one pattern paper I absolutely fell in love with is this one. I'm going to show it to you. I have it all pre-cut, but I want to show it to you as it is in the pack before I cut it in half. Just have a look. This collage design is absolutely stunning. I love the bird. I had to have the bird on my card. All of this, like the torn edges, the old paper, the script on here, the beautiful botanicals with the butterfly, and all of this collaging and layering that Katie has done means that we don't have to do a whole lot more to this if we don't want to, but we can. So you've got lots of different possibilities here. I could take this Dream Big die, pop it on there and call it good, and it would look really nice. But I can also add in some other things, which is what I did on my card. So after I cut this down, I decided to mat this up onto some brown cardstock. And this is the walnut cardstock from Arden. And I just thought that this worked beautifully with all of the warm tones in the green and the brown paper. So I've got this kind of positioned on here. The reason that I've matted this onto that brown cardstock is just to give a little bit of a frame, kind of like that cloud series. It's nice to have a bit of a frame around the outside edge. So you can see this looks different than having this up onto the brown cardstock. This will just give a little bit more presence to it. So that's what I've done here. Now, before I get this all matted and glued down, I want to add a little bit more layering in here. And then here's where this butterfly is going to come in. And this is our decoupage paper. So coming back to this piece here, I've got this half butterfly, well, more than half butterfly up here in the corner. Now I could tear this out, but I thought it would be really fun to instead simply grab my scissors and trim around the outside edge. So for this, I'm not going to go around the antenna on here. I'm gonna let that part go, but I am going to go around all of the body of our butterfly. And it's okay if I have a little bit of a shadow around here, a little bit of that excess decoupage paper. I don't have to be too precise, but I do want to be fairly close to the image. And I'm going to glue this down exactly the same way I did with the torn pieces. So this is going to be a really nice and different way of utilizing some of the elements in those decoupage papers, because there are some postmarks in there. Of course, with the striped pattern paper, you can isolate out some of the stripes as well if you cut those on the diagonal. Okay, so here is my butterfly. And he's ready to go. So what I can do now, bring back in this piece, and once again, kind of play with the positioning. Now I have to say, when I was doing my card and I had that whole piece of collage pattern paper, I was really playing with this piece. He was flying everywhere on that pattern background paper. But I thought I'm going to align his wing kind of with this line that's printed onto the design. And that's going to give me room for my cutting die image. And then also down here, I've got some of those stickers, the stickers that say, listen to your heart. Each one of those is a separate sticker line. So I wanted to have room in there to allow for that too. Okay, let me get my little palette back here. This is still a little bit gluey. We'll move over to another portion of my surface here. And then once again, just add some of the adhesive, a little bit of water, and then coat the back of this. You can pop that back into a jar of water. And then line this up. Maybe put him up a little bit higher. And then just gently tap him in place. And then again, just gently smooth out the rest of the outside edges there. I just think this looks so beautiful in combination with that gorgeous background paper. So pretty and so easy to use. And there are also so many other elements in here. So on this sheet, you've also got another butterfly over here that you could cut out. The before I tore into it, you have this circular like little 2 mark in here, and you've got all of these postmarks. These can also be cut out and layered up onto your design as well. All right, so then from here, I've got my Dream Big die, and this die is one of the stacked sentiments. So one letter stacked on top of the other. These are also a lot of fun, and I think the Dream Big is a great sentiment for so many different card-giving occasions, for either birthdays, or we've got graduation season coming up. This would be a nice graduation card. So there's a lot that you can do with that sentiment. Also just a nice kind of encouraging sentiment, I think. Who wouldn't like to get a card that says Dream Big on it? And of course, with all of the words that you have in that sticker set, you've got lots of different options for mixing and matching. Okay. this around. And I'm going to have this overlapping my butterfly. And tap that down in place. Let me grab my acrylic block again. And then we'll let that just sit there while that glue is drying. Now for my stickers down below, again, lots and lots of different options that I have here. What can go with Dream Big? Let's see. Expect nothing, appreciate everything. Love this more. Tell your story. I like that one a lot. Let's do this one. So pull these off here. Now these are the washi style. I know this is very tiny to see, but it's got a nice translucency to it. Pull this off. I need some more hands. I need some more fingers actually. And let's start with the one on the bottom. Position that down. And again, that's just going to blend right in with that background. Absolutely stunning. So easy to use. There we go. So that's in place there too. Dream big, tell your story. I love it. Thank you, Katie, for coming up for the words. Now, what's really nice about this too is that once you've got this all in place, all you need to do is mat it and you are set to go. So I'm going to pop some more adhesive on this piece of cardstock. And then position this right on top. And I have this already cut so that I know it will give me a nice even edge. And then from here, I can position this onto the front of my card. Now, the other thing that I have, actually two other things that I have going on my original card. The first is that I've wrapped this portion, again, with a little bit of that jute twine. So wrapping that on there, and then I've added a little bow here. I've also got one of these stickers going along the bottom, just kind of as an accent underneath, tucked underneath this piece. So let's see if I can find one of these stickers that we can add just right into our card. Let's see, one of these nice borders. You can see where it's easy to go a little bit crazy here because of all of these beautiful designs. Let's see if I can show this to you more easily up against the white. Oh, this is one that I love, and I'm absolutely planning on using this as a border on another card project. Let's see, I'm just going to grab one of these pieces down here. It helps to pull it off of the right side of the sticker sheet. Okay, and then from here, I'm just going to pop this down. Again, it just blends in there beautifully. And then I will add this right on top. So again, just if I wanted to add some more of that twine going wrapped around this portion, I could do that and then glue that on top. For this time around, let me just glue this down right on here. And position this like so. So if you wanted to go without the twine option, you can definitely do that. And then you've got two different versions of this design. I have to say, I just adore having that little decoupage butterfly in there though. Okay, let me grab both of these cards here and we can take another look at both of these. Super simple to put together. I think we've done it in under an hour, 43 minutes, so that's pretty good. And I just think it goes to show how nicely and how easily these elements can come together, how easy they are to use. This was such a pleasure to put these cards together, and I can't wait to get into the bigger size of paper pack and some of the other embellishments to do some scrapbooking projects too, because of course this will work beautifully for just about any theme in scrapbooking too. So we've played with our pattern papers, we've explored some of the stickers, we've also looked at the gorgeous decoupage design, and also my card making hack is to take advantage of all of those beautiful cutting dies, sentiment cutting dies out there that can work so nicely for adding an instant message to the front of your card. I will also say, too, if you're somebody who decorates the whole front of your card, and then when it's time to write the message on the inside and you're like, ooh, I've run out of creativity, those dies are also great for putting on the inside because then you can kind of write around them there too. So, another little sneaky tip that I think my mother uses quite often. She's a card maker too, and she often says, oh, when she gets to the inside, it's really like writer's block to try and figure out what to say. So sometimes it's nice to have a prompt that can work for the inside and the outside of your cards. So I want to say a big thank you guys to everyone for joining today. I'm going to change up my camera again and we can see each other. I had a lot of fun today. Absolutely adore this collection, and I can tell that many of you do as well. So do have a chance to check that out. We will be back again, checking my notes, June 5th. I was telling Fiona, I hope that I'm able to design some more projects with the same collection. So fingers crossed. If not, I will be back with another and equally beautiful collection that I'm sure we will all fall in love with as well. A big thank you to Fiona for being backstage today and popping in all of those links. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It is so nice to see some familiar names popping up in the chat. It was absolutely wonderful to have you all here. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Alrighty, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.